Hey guys, it's Carrie. I hope you're all having a really great weekend. I'm going to talk a little bit about the engagement and assessment phases of things and how that works with me at my practicum. So, overall, I am working primarily with kids. I interact with their parents and I deal with their parents as well, but most of this will kind of focus on my engagement and assessment with the kids. Um, so let's give an example. The first client that I met his caseworker and I met at their house. And I tried to engage with the kid by noticing that he had a bunch of books. And so I said, "Hey, do you like to read?" And this just totally lit him up and it allowed him to feel important and noticed, and not just a generic, "How are you today?" and things like that. So my engagement and both assessment as well, and I'll mention this again later, really relies a lot on observation and looking, especially when you're working with kids. You're observing their behaviors and their actions more so than you are sitting down and having conversation for an hour long with them. So how do I engage with my clients, especially difficult ones? Well, I actually had an instance this week where I needed to talk with my client about some behaviors that weren't appropriate, and she didn't want to talk to me. So my rule with that, tentative rule, I guess, is I have an eye contact rule with when I'm working with kids. And until she was able to look me in the eye for a couple seconds, we were not going to go. I made it clear until she looked me in the eye and listened to what we needed to talk about, we weren't going to be able to continue with our activity for that day. And it took a little while, but eventually they give you their attention, and that just seems to kind of click with kids when they look at you, you look at them. So that's one way that I use to engage with them. For my assessment, again, it's really about observations. I really love the DAP note process that we do at Youth Dynamics. It helps me a lot. I think we all know, but DAP is Data, Assessment, and Plan. And so my brain works really well that way. I get to write about what we did that day and the behaviors that I saw, and then I get to assess those behaviors, and then I plan on how I'm going to address those behaviors and how to move on from there. So I really like that DAP format for doing the assessment. It helps kind of organize my thoughts. And then also for assessment, just really observing, because you're not going to get a kid to tell you as much as you are going to see. So yeah, that's how I assess for my clients' needs. And then some of my strengths, I just feel like our kids in general, I've worked with them my whole life. So talking to them really comes naturally to me. So on the flip side, some things that I want to develop are my conversation and my engagement and assessment with adults. Now, for instance, one client this week, previously I had found out that they weren't getting breakfast and weren't brushing their teeth. So this week when I picked her up and I was in the house, I asked her and Mom, "Oh, did we brush our teeth and eat breakfast this morning?" And was able to assess the situation that way by actually asking a direct question. So sometimes it's through observation and sometimes it's through questions. And that's about it. Want to keep it short. Thanks, guys.